Yo, what is going on, everybody? Executives here, coming at you with how to get your world buffs. Now, I'm going to show in this video how to get every world buff from Dire Maul to Songflower to Onyxia and ZG. So this is going to be a pretty detailed guide. I got a lot of questions asking about this, so let's hop right into this. First thing you're going to need to do is I highly recommend that you guys set your Hearthstone in Booty Bay. Now, there's an innkeeper over here that I'm going to show you guys too. Just talk to him and set your Hearthstone here, and then we're going to make our way to Dire Maul. Alright, so here we are in Dire Maul. I'm at the furthest most north entrance, so we're going to be wanting to go to Dire Maul North. You do need a crescent key to get in here, and you do that by going through Dire Maul East, the full run. So let's go ahead and unlock this door, and then we're going to go ahead and do a Dire Maul North tribute run. Now, there's a very specific reason why I do Dire Maul first, and then we go on to Songflower, and then we go on from there. So I have a very specific order on how I get my world buffs. Alright, so here we are in Dire Maul. Now, I really didn't want to include a Dire Maul guide, but I might as well go ahead and do it. So if you start here, you're going to have to kill this guy, and then you are able to kill these guys unless you're able to sneak past with like invisibility potions, or you can climb up here and maybe sneak past like this. But there's a bunch of mobs that you can skip here to maximize your time to get through here. There's a bunch of mobs that you can skip. You can skip pretty much all these guys, and then with the North Run tribute, you're going to want to skip as many bosses as you can. So once you get to this point, you need to go and you need to loot Fangus's chest. You're going to want to skip this boss. You need this boss. Now, the reason is because the more bosses you skip, the more buffs you get. That rhymed. So, for instance, that boss, he gives you 200 attack power, and also you get more loot from the chest. You're going to want to go ahead and kill all these guys. You can sneak past almost all of this, I'm pretty sure, if you two-man it. In fact, I came out with a video on how to or not how to, but showing me demonstrating how I two-manned it. And then you really want to focus down these eyes. Next here, you can go ahead and talk to this guy, or if you have the mats, you can set up the mats for this broken trap here and freeze. But as long as you know where the boss is, you can go ahead and just skip by hugging this wall, and running past all these guys. You can go ahead and skip Guard Fangus. You're going to need to kill all these guys, kill the eyes, kill everything here. You can skip all the right-hand packs, just need to kill these two guys. And then you're going to need some sort of rogue, or if you're an engineer, you're going to need a large C4 charge. Now that we got our large C4 charges, we're going to go ahead and open this door. And now there's several ways to clear this next boss. You can do it with a rogue, you can do it with a hunter, and I think you could do it with like a warlock or a druid. I'm not sure, but rogue and hunter are the easiest. So the way you do it, if you don't have the suit where you there's a suit that you can get where you go up and talk to him and you tell him to go away. But if you don't have the suit, everyone goes ahead and they stand in this corner. You have a rogue pole with a bow and arrow, and then he runs all the way back here, and he'll vanish here and reset the boss. Now once the boss gets past this part, you're going to go ahead and hug this wall to the right. Hug the wall until you get about here, and then you'll tell the rogue to vanish. Make sure you're not in combat, or else the boss will aggro and you'll start the fight. So you have to not be in combat. Don't heal the rogue, don't touch it. It's the same thing with hunter. He'd just kite all the way back there and just faint death. Now you kill all these mobs, and then you get here. So you're going to want to kill King Gordok without killing Show Rush. And the way you do that is you just have a mage or a healer stand up all the way around here. You have him run all the way here, and then you can either have the tank pull to here and then you like cast a wand or cast a frostbolt, or you just have the tank pull here and then you just spam heal because you'll get aggro from this guy. So let's say we go ahead and kill this guy. Now we're done with the tribute run. You can go ahead and loot him, and then you get the chest, and then another gentleman will come out. This guy will come out, and then you're going to talk to him, and oh, I think it's bugged right now, but whatever. And then we're going to go ahead and talk to him, and then this is where the time crunch starts to happen. So we're going to say, what about the new king? Blah, blah, blah. I'm the new king. So now we should get this buff where it allows us to go around and talk to everybody. And then you'll go around, you go back through the instance. No one will aggro you, so don't worry. So we're going to go back through the instance, talk to all these guys. That guy doesn't have a buff, but it is good to skip him because the more bosses you skip, the more loot you get. So now we're going to go back here. Now we talk to this guy, and he gives us a 3% critical hits for spells, which is really good for mages, warlocks, any sort of caster. Next we're going to go on to the other boss, Guard Fangus, I think his name is. It's generally good to put a marker on him so you can see where he is, because he's got a pretty fat patrol. We're going to go ahead and talk to him. Now we got our 200 attack power, and then the last boss gives us health. So all these are very beneficial because the more health you have, the more damage you can take, and the less likely you are to die, especially good for tanks, any DPS. So now we have overall stamina increased by 15%. Now this is where you're either going to log out, or if you have a mage in your group, you're going to have a mage port to either Tedrastil, Darnassus, or Orgrimmar. And then from there you're going to fly up to Felwood. So make sure you have a mage in your group. If you don't, log out, go on an alt, find a mage, and then once you log back in, you'll spawn at the west entrance, I'm pretty sure. Yep, you're going to go ahead and spawn. Oh, wait, whoops. Well, you would spawn at the west entrance, and then from there you get a port. Make sure that there's no priests around. Shamans and priests can purge you and dispel these buffs. So if you're super scared, you can equip a bunch of scrolls on you. So if I can find any scrolls, well, I can't, but if you have any scrolls of strength, any scrolls of intellect, you can put those on you, and the scrolls will be purged before these buffs do. So now we're going to go ahead and head over to Felwood. Alright, so now you got your port from Dire Maul to either Orgrimmar or Stormwind, and now you're going to look for something once you get to Felwood called a Corrupted Songflower or just a normal Songflower. Now you just take a flight path from, if Orgrimmar, you take the flight path right here. This is the Horde flight path, and then if you're Alliance, the flight path is up here. Now I'm going to leave a screenshot on the video showing where all of the Songflower spawns are, and what my recommendation is that once, or I actually have a really good recommendation. So you get ported to the main city, and then you start to fly here. Now what I do is I will log out right before I land. So right before I land, I will log off. And so it's instant log off since you were technically in a city. There's no 20-second wait. And then what you do is you either hop on an alt, or if you have a bunch of guild members all doing this with you, you will wait until one guild member finds a Songflower. Now the reason for this is because generally I've seen it a lot is where Alliance will camp flight paths, or Horde will camp the flight path up here and kill everyone that lands, or mind control them off this ledge down here, or just kill them, or even just purge them, just because people like to be mean. So I recommend logging off, saving your Dire Maul, saving the time on your Dire Maul buffs, and then going on an alt. It could even be like just a level 40 Herbalism alt that you have, because if you turn on Herbalism, you will see Corrupted Songflowers on your minimap. Anyways, once you find your Corrupted Songflower, you're going to need Cenarion plant salves. Now I've already made a video covering on how to get that, so I'll leave the link in the description of that. And then you're going to click, and then now you got your Songflower. This increases your chance for melee range and spell critical strikes by 5% and all attributes by 15%. Songflower is huge. It is very big. It's almost as good as a Nixia buff. Now another thing that you can do is when you cleanse a Corrupted Songflower, at least on Elysium, every single person around, if they click it at the same time, is able to get the cleansed Songflower. So let's say you have a group of 40 people here, which I have seen and I have done. You'll count down 3, 2, 1, and then everyone will click it at the same time. And it even lasts for about 3 or 4 seconds after you click it, and then everyone gets their buff, and then you're all set. Sometimes it's even bugged where there's more than one, but I think that's just an Elysium thing. So now since we got our Songflower and our Dire Maul buffs, we're going to go ahead and get a port to either Orgrimmar or Stormwind again. Now the reason for this is generally you go and you get your Nixia buff first, and then you get your ZG buff. So we're going to go ahead and go to Orgrimmar or Stormwind. Alright, so now since you've made it to Stormwind, I would go ahead and log out again. You're generally going to land in, or you're going to land in the Mage Tower, and then I'd make your way to the front of the entrance, and then I'd log out. Now, again, if you're on Discord, if you're in a raid group with a guild or something, they'll tell everybody, hey, log in, we're about to drop the head. Once you drop the head, it takes about 10 seconds for it to go out. So you're going to go ahead and drop the head. I want this item, and then he's going to give some sort of text, and then you're going to go ahead and get ready for him to drop the buff. So we're just going to go ahead and wait here, and then from here I would log in, and the second it goes off, I'm going to start casting my Hearthstone almost immediately, and then what we're going to do is we're going to Hearthstone all the way to ZG. So since I have my GM mode on, I didn't get the buff, but you would normally get the Onyxia buff, and then you're going to Hearthstone all the way down to ZG, or all the way down to Booty Bay, I mean. Now from here, what I would do is I'm going to run up this staircase here. Sorry for the speed. I'm going to go ahead and run up this staircase here. I apologize for this if this is annoying. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on top of this roof up here. Oh, crap. I'm going to sit up on top of this roof. Now, the reason for this... Here, I'm just going to modify my speed to normal. Now, the reason for this is generally in Booty Bay, especially with competing guilds, they want to purge you. So it's the same thing. You can still purge your Songflower. You can still purge your ZG buffs. You can't purge Onyxia, I don't think. But you can definitely be purging all the buffs. So what I do is I stand right back here, and then my guild, the exact same thing. They say, hey, we're about to drop the ZG buff, which is all the way up here on this island. You know, start logging in. So I'll log in. All the mages already precasted portals down, and then you're gonna wait for the ZG buff. You're gonna go back to your main city, which I would go from Stormwind, and then I would go back to Ironforge, and then from there we'd fly down to BWL or up to Burning Steps. And so yeah, that is how you get all of your world buffs. Now, I hope I covered everything in here. I didn't cover some stuff like Roids and some other world buffs, but this is just the basic how to get your Onyxia, ZG, Dire Maul, and your Songflower buffs. Now, with all of this, I cut out as much time as I could by logging out before flight paths, before logging out before the head drops, and logging out when there's downtime. The reason why is because when you log out, it saves your buffs. So I have 55 minutes left on my Songflower. By the time I get to Molten Core, I may only have about 52, maybe 49 minutes. If I'm really, really good and save a lot of time, I've had a maximum of about 56 minutes left on my Songflower, which allows me to get all the way through Molten Core and then into a little bit of BWL before it expires. So that's how you get all your world buffs. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Again, I recommend setting your Hearthstone to ZG and then just always having a mage in your group. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.